Hey everyone, this is Mason Hutchison, and you're listening to HerbRally, your daily herbal podcast. We come out with new episodes each and every day, so be sure to tune in often. We publish herbalism lectures, interviews, narrated monographs, etc. So whether you're a new herbalist or you've been doing this for a while, feel free to peruse our archive of hundreds of episodes and you're bound to find something of interest. Our goal for the show is to help you grow as an herbalist no matter what stage you're at. Today's episode is actually a video from our YouTube channel. It's with herbalist Christa Sinadinos, and she chats a bit about her new book, The Essential Guide to Western Botanical Medicine. Back in April, we visited her school and apothecary in Arcata, California. We recorded a bunch of content, which you'll see upcoming more on our YouTube channel, as well as our membership area called the HerbRally Schoolhouse. But yeah, her new book is one of the most epic and extensive books on herbal medicine that we've ever seen. And Christa wanted to hook up the HerbRally audience with a discount code. Just use HerbRally25 at checkout and you'll get $25 off. This discount ends on September 8th. So you might notice the book is a tad pricey, but that's because, well, first of all, it's extremely thick. There is a lot in it. It took Christa, I'm probably going to exaggerate this, but I think she said she spent something like 20 years on the book. It's just endlessly researched, and there's so much in it. And she self-published it as well, so there's going to be a lot more pictures than you might find in your standard book. But I won't spill the beans for you. I'll let Christa explain the book to you in this episode today. But again, just use coupon code HerbRally25 at checkout. And to purchase the book, you could just go to christasinadinos.com. I'll include a link in the show notes as usual. But yeah, this is definitely one of those books that you must have. I remember back when Amanda and I went to Portland and we visited both Paul Bergner and Dr. Orna Isaacson. Both of them ranted and raved about this book. So it definitely belongs in every herbalist library. Again, christasinadinos.com. Use coupon code HerbRally25 at checkout to get $25 off the book. Also, if you want to check out some of Christa's classes in our HerbRally Schoolhouse, you could go to herbrally.com/schoolhouse and you could get your first 30 days for free by using coupon code podcast at checkout. So far, she's got 2 classes in the HerbRally Schoolhouse, and there are a bunch of other classes. We release new content each and every week, and they're not just with Christa, but with a bunch of different herbalists. So yeah, one more time, herbrally.com/schoolhouse, and use coupon code podcast at checkout to try your first 30 days for free. And one more thing before we get into the show, I wanted to read a 5-star written review from Apple Podcasts. So this is from Spirit Forest, and they said, informative and inspiring. Thank you, HerbRally and guests, for an informative and inspiring podcast gem for our herbal communities. I love the diversity of voices, abundance of helpful information, and illuminating inspiration that I receive each time I tune in. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Spirit Forest. That's exactly what we're going for. We want as diverse of voices as possible, as many different voices from the herbal community as possible, and we want long episodes, short episodes, and everything in between. We really just want to provide you, the listener, with lots of different perspectives, and I'm basically creating the podcast that I wanted to see in the world, and here we are, and we're now a daily show. So yeah, you could expect new, diverse perspectives of herbalism each and every day. So thanks again for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you want to see the video to this episode, just go to youtube.com/c/HerbRally, and you could see Christa talk about the book there. And you could kind of get some visuals for the book as well. So anywho, I will talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah. Smoking herbal blends. We need some mullein and some kush, my brethren. While listening to HerbRally podcast again. Herbalism at its finest with Mason Hutchinson. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Christa Sinadinos, and I am the author of The Essential Guide to Western Botanical Medicine and the director and founder of the Northwest School for Botanical Studies. This is my book. I'm very excited to have it available to many different individuals because I can only house 16 people in my classroom, and it's a little challenging to move into the middle of nowhere in Northern California. So I really wanted to create an epic resource for practicing herbalists and intermediate and advanced herbalists. And I wanted to spend a lot of energy focusing on the Materia Medica, and this book includes about 128 herbs covered over 550 pages with more than 1,000 botanical photographs. And in the Materia Medica section, I break down, botanical descriptions, ethnobotanical and historical uses. I cover nutritional profiles. I wanted a resource that had as many of the constituents in plants as I could possibly, coalesce into one resource. There's a small section that includes the botanical preparations and dosages, so you can just quickly refer to that. Like, how do I prepare this? What's the dosage? What are the different options of preparations, both internal and topical? And then, of course, one of the things that really helps me to remember the names is to study the etymology. Like if you're learning Latin names and you understand, what the genus and epithet or the species name means, you'll have a lot easier time remembering the botanical names or the binomials than if you were to have no association with that whatsoever. So if you know something helps you to be well, then you might remember Valeriana, or if you knew like its name was officinalis, you'll know that was used at one point as an official drug plant. Or maybe it's vulgaris and it's a really common herb. So there's an in-depth Materia Medica section with photographs of the plants in different stages. Often I'll include the roots, picture of the flowers, the foliage, roots or rhizomes, foliage, flowers, sometimes even fun little animals that are inhabiting or insects, because I really enjoy all of the aspects of herbalism, including, the habitat they're growing in and all of the different sweet little mammals and insects that, are part of herbalism as well. So anyways, first section is Herbal Materia Medica, 550 pages. And then there are 3 other sections, an herbal medicine making section, which I go in depth into how to prepare the most common preparations like tinctures, fresh plant, dry plant, alcohol intermediary oil method, different medicinal oils, how to prepare glycerites, a bunch of other preparations. And then there's an herbal therapeutic formula section, which I break down according to organ systems. And I go through all the primary conditions you might be confronted with if you were working with friends, family, or in a practice. So it's got a good reference. You can modify the formulas according to what you have growing near you or what you have access to. But it goes through and basically gives you an idea of how to pull together a formula for a certain condition. And then we cover, bullet point, kind of the main properties of that formula and the main conditions it's used for. So it's a great quick reference. And then I spent many, many hours compiling the appendices and indices section. And we've got a compendium referencing like more than 200 conditions. So if you didn't want to read 4 pages or 5 pages about mullein, you might want to just go, okay, what would be a great drying expectorant? What would be a great moistening expectorant? Like I go through more than 200 properties and then list tons of herbs. I love kind of cataloging stuff like that. It comes very naturally to me. So one of the reasons I wrote this book and why it's so long and why I self-published, because it's really hard to find, well, 1, to find a publisher if you haven't published a book. 2, to find someone who's willing to publish 1,000 color photographs is next to impossible. And that is one of the things a lot of other herbalists said, like, they're allowing you to publish this many photographs in a book. And I'm like, no, I'm allowing myself to publish this many photographs and doing it exactly how I want to. And I can't say that was the least expensive process because, it takes time and energy to get all those photographs. I had a few friends who generously lent me photographs for the book, including Seven Song and Corey Pine Shane. Sent a few photos over, and a couple of my students also helped photograph some of the plants that were a little more difficult to find photographs of, like yerba manza and some weird ones that we just couldn't find source photos for. But I am really proud of how the layout turned out. I worked with one of the most meticulous designers I've met in my life, and to the point where we'd spend about 6 hours sometimes just refocusing, altering the red, blue, gray of a certain photograph. We would spend hours just trying to find the perfect photo of whatever, an oat seed in milk or, the rhizome. And she was very persnickety. I will say I spent 5 months looking for photos, cataloging them. And then I brought them all to her and she's like, oh, no, this won't do, this won't do, this won't do. So anyways, what I thought would be a 4-month process with her ended up being a 2-year process. We worked together every week to design this, and she really did an impeccable job. She has an incredible eye, and I do think that helps bring this like step above some of the other books, just because people don't have the time, and book companies don't want to spend that much time editing and designing their books, I gotta say. I mean, they got to crank that shit out so they can make money. So I'm really proud of what we ended up with. And it just makes me happy to have so many different photographs in one book, and I tried to create a resource where you could like go through and find all the information instead of cross-referencing tons of different books. And especially what I'm most proud of is that it includes all the clinical information, because I practiced for 25 years when I started writing this book. So I really wanted a source that was grounded and rooted in botanical medicine and the practice. And there are so many wonderful books out there that are beautifully researched. But when you ask the author, like how many years they treated patients, sometimes they didn't even treat patients. That wasn't really their angle. So I really felt it was imperative to have all of that included from a practitioner. So anyways, it goes through, not doing very good justice here to the photos. You can go through. But anyways, there's lots of fun photographs. I don't know how to quite do this gracefully. But I really tried to feature each herb and think like, oh, here's calendula. What does it look like while it's drying? What are the different variations of calendula that you can find from its budding phase into its opening phase? What does it look like in a salve? It's got these handy little sections for preparation and dosage. Oh, another fun thing, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, is we feature the botanical name and the common name, and I went through and I tried to include as many common names from around the world as I possibly could find. And family names, like I said, botanical descriptions, etymology, historical uses, constituents, nutritional properties, medicinal properties, and then the therapeutics, of course, like if it's cooling, bitter, warming, hot, pungent, astringent, drying. I love the contraindications section. I spent a lot of energy doing that, like potential contras and cautions. And voila! So you can find this book on my website. It's www.christasinadinos.com. And occasionally we feature little deals here and there, little discounts. But basically, if you go to christasinadinos.com, you'll be able to find information about my book. And if you want more information about classes or potentially studying with me, it's Christa Sinadinos at herbaleducation.net. And